Hello everyone, and welcome to the World War Photographer channel. Today we will discuss World War II, Operation Barbarossa. Don't forget to subscribe to support our work. It truly means a lot to us. On June 22nd, 1941, Soviet rocket launchers unleash their firepower as German forces invade the USSR, marking the start of Operation Barbarossa. An SDKFZ 250 half-track leads tank units, preparing for an assault along the Russian front during the invasion of the Soviet Union on July 21st. A half-track driver operates inside an armored vehicle during the campaign in Russia, August. German infantrymen monitor enemy movements from their trenches, preparing for an advance into Soviet territory on July 10th. Stuka dive bombers soar toward their target over coastal territory between the Dnieper and Crimea, nearing the Gate of the Crimea on November 6th. Troops navigate a stormboat across the Don River during the 1941 invasion of the Caucasus region in the Soviet Union. In October, German soldiers guide a horse-drawn vehicle over a corduroy road through wetlands near Salla on the Kola Peninsula, a Soviet-occupied area in northeast Finland. A sentry stands watch in the recently captured city of Kiev, with a burning bridge across the Dnieper River in the background. Machine gunners of the Far Eastern Red Army stand ready during the Axis invasion of the USSR. A bomber, with its starboard engine ablaze, crashes over an unknown location during World War II in November. Nazi troops lie hidden in the undergrowth during the fighting leading up to the capture of Kiev, Ukraine. On July 2nd, Russian soldiers, hands clasped behind their heads, are marched back to the rear of enemy lines, while a column of troops moves up to the front as hostilities between the two nations begin. On October 21st, in a Leningrad suburb, Russian men and women salvage their belongings from their burning homes, reportedly set on fire by the Soviets themselves as part of a scorched earth policy. On July 26th, reindeer graze on an airfield in Finland as a warplane takes off in the background. Heinrich Himmler, head of the Gestapo and Waffen-SS, inspects a prisoner of war camp in Russia, sometime between 1940 and 1941. This photo shows some of the 650,000 Russian prisoners the Germans claim to have captured at Bryansk and Vyazma during the fierce fighting on the Moscow front. They are seen here, waiting to be transported to a POW camp on November 2nd, 1941. On August 7th, Adolf Hitler examines a Russian war map with General Field Marshal Walter von Brauchitsch, Commander-in-Chief and Chief of Staff Colonel General Franz Halder. On June 26th, during the invasion of the Soviet Union, Axis soldiers, backed by armored personnel carriers, move into a burning Russian village at an undisclosed location. On September 15th, a large Russian gun, likely a 203mm howitzer M1931, is operated by its crew from a well-concealed position on the front lines. German forces, advancing rapidly, encountered strong guerrilla resistance behind their front lines. In this image, 4 guerrillas, armed with fixed bayonets and a small machine gun, are seen in action near a small village. On September 19th, Red Army soldiers inspect war trophies captured during battles with the invading Axis forces somewhere in Russia. On October 3rd, 1941, a view of the destruction in Riga, the capital of Latvia, shows the aftermath of the Russian withdrawal as the city fell under Nazi control. On October 19th, a Finnish troop train passes through a scene of an earlier explosion that wrecked one train, tearing up the rails and embankment. On November 22nd, burning houses, ruins, and wrecks reflect the intensity of the battle that took place before Axis forces entered the stubbornly defended industrial center of Rostov on the lower Don River. General Heinz Guderian, commander of Germany's Panzergruppe II, chats with members of a tank crew on September 3, 1941, on the Russian front. Soldiers remove one of many Soviet national emblems on July 18th during their drive to conquer Russia. A man, his wife and child are seen after leaving Minsk on August 9th as the Axis army swarmed in. The original wartime caption reads, in part, "Hatred for the Nazis burns in the man's eyes as he holds his little child, while his wife, completely exhausted, lies on the pavement." On October 1st, officials claimed this long-distance photo of Leningrad showed Soviet aircraft, but they were likely barrage balloons. This marked the furthest advance, as the city endured a 2-year siege without falling. On October 19th, a flood of Russian armored cars moved toward the front lines. Colonel General Ernst Busch inspects an anti-aircraft gun position on September 3, 1941, somewhere in Germany. Finnish soldiers storm a Soviet bunker on August 10th, with one of the defenders surrendering on the left. German troops make a hasty advance through a blazing Leningrad suburb on November 24th. Russian prisoners of war are marched away after being captured on July 7th during the invasion. A column of prisoners of war, taken during recent fighting in Ukraine, is seen en route to a prison camp on September 3rd. Mechanized units rest at Staritsa, Russia, on November 21st, 1941, just evacuated by the Soviets, before continuing the fight for Kiev. The gutted buildings in the background show the thoroughness of the scorched earth policy. Infantrymen forced their way into a sniper hideout, where Russians had been firing on advancing troops on September 1st. 2 Russian soldiers, now prisoners of war, inspect a giant statue of Lenin, somewhere in Russia, torn from its pedestal and smashed during the advance on August 9th. The rope around the statue's neck was left there symbolically. An officer on the right, described by sources as a captured Russian colonel, is interrogated by Nazi officers on October 24th. Flames shoot high from burning buildings in the background as troops enter Smolensk in the Central Soviet Union during the offensive toward Moscow in August 1941. This trainload of men, described as Soviet prisoners, was en route to Germany on October 3rd. Several million Soviet soldiers were sent to prison camps, most of whom never returned alive. Russian snipers leave their hideout in a wheat field on August 27th, while enemy soldiers watch. In the foreground is a disabled Soviet tank. German infantrymen in heavy winter gear march next to horse-drawn vehicles, passing through a district near Moscow in November 1941. The harsh winter conditions strained the already weak supply lines, forcing Germany to halt its advance. This exposed soldiers to the elements and Soviet counterattacks, leading to heavy casualties and a significant loss of momentum in the war. Thanks for watching until the end. If you enjoyed these historical World War photos, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.